In this video, we'll make this skull from scratch, from sphere just for 1 hour, so stay tuned and I will explain everything. I will explain all the forms and why these holes are here, why these things are inside the nose. No, I will not explain that, but I will explain that they should be there. And I will explain a lot of things, those bones here that doesn't look super nice now. They shouldn't be that visible, I mean, it's like, you know. And yeah, those things, so I think it should be useful. Stay tuned, watch it. So we start from this sphere, of course, and first we're gonna do, what we're gonna do is make a helmet shape. Because the helmet shape is very good for starting heads, and in this case, the skull. So we are making this front part, the jaw area, and then we will just flatten the sides a little bit, and then smooth it. And as you will notice, a little bit, everything is a little bit for me. So we'll do this a little bit, and this a little bit, and from the top view, the skull has to be elongated shape, and the head also, with the front face, the face part, to be a little bit narrower, not a little bit, but quite narrower than the back part. And here you see it's obviously not good, but we will just clash it a bit. I will disable the perspective for now, and I will enable it at a later stage. So now we have to establish the form of the skull. So the form of the skull is not exactly round here, it's more like a flat on top, and it's more like going like this on the back. You see? It's this strange shape, more like squarish. If you make the head or the skull a bit squarish from the side, it will be better than just leave it as a balloon. It's not good. I mean, yeah, it's not a balloon. You see how it's like flat on top. So be careful about this. Then we have to establish first, most important thing, how to start making all the shapes. We have to start from some point, and this point will be the ear hole. And the ear hole, where it will be? It will be right in the middle here, you know, in the middle, and it will be on the bottom part of the skull. So around this area, we'll make the hole. And then it will be very easy to start making the jaw. And the jaw, we'll make it in here, a little bit more like down, again a little bit. We'll put this, push this inward, and this will start to look a little bit like a jaw. And next thing, we establish the jaw, and what is above the ear and in front of the ear? It's the cheekbone, So the cheekbone will start just above the ear hole, just above here, and it will go up front, a little bit downward. I mean, and it's thin here, and then it's going to be thicker in this area, and it will finish right about here. For example, we'll see. Then I like to establish the chin. The chin is very important, so I'll make it. And in the skull, the chin is most of the time, and all the time, it's very sharp. It's not like rounded, because it doesn't have these muscles and stuff here. And also fat. It's very sharp. So I will push just above the chin. So I will establish this mouth area here with the teeth and everything. It's a rounded shape in this area like this. And I will establish it. This is the mouth area. See? And then behind it, the bottom jaw will have this strange shape, but I will show it to you later. For now, let's just figure out how to make it like this, and don't forget, don't be afraid to make the bottom jaw even a little bit bigger. It will look more masculine, I mean more skull-like, more badass skull, and that's what I like to do. And I will tell you why. I'm a little bit fascinated by the skulls and by monsters and stuff. Most of you probably also are. So yeah, now we have this kind of a form. We don't have eyes. Where the eyes will be? It doesn't matter where we put them, but it matters, of course. But they will be around the middle part of the skull. So if this is the skull height, we'll have the middle part around here, and the eyes will be around this area. The eye holes, there are no eyes. Those are the holes for the eyes, or eye orbits, or whatever you call them. I don't call the parts of the skull with their real names. There's a zygomatic process here and something like this. No, cheekbone is a little bit more informal. I like it this way. So I made the eyes, and suddenly it started to look a little bit like a skull. Okay. From the side view, we have to push this a little bit inward, because otherwise it wouldn't be nice. And this will be the nose. Or at least what the skull has is just a nose cavity with a little bit protrusion in the front. And around the nose, from this part, from the base here of the nose, I make digging and then smooth. So now we have something like that resembles a little bit a skull. A very important thing that we have to do is dig behind the eyes here, and just above the cheekbone we have to dig very deep in here. If you notice from pictures of skulls or something like this, here we have a hole, and we see through the hole. Through here we can see, and through here we can see here. Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, this is completely see-through from here down. And you will see why. We will not gonna make it though, because yeah, holes in ZBrush are not very good. I mean, I don't like to make them, but we'll see. We'll see. No, we will not see. We will not make this hole, but whatever. Yeah. So for now, the skull is starting to look like a skull, which is kind of good. And okay, something else. Yeah, let's dynamesh it and smooth it. Because until now we had the geometry, which was the sphere geometry, and it was kind of bad. Now I like to sharpen some areas, but before sharpening, let's first pay attention to the hole of the nose. For example, so these are the eyes, and the eyes, let me draw you the eyes, how they will look. So the eyes are most likely will look like this. So a point in here, and then they go like this, and then go down. And those are some kind of angles. Here angle, then here will be not angular, and then here will be kind of a angle, but not exactly, and it will be like this. This will be the eye. And the nose will start a little bit below the middle of the eye. So the middle of the eye is here, the eye socket is here, and the nose will start around this area. And it will go down like this. So there are varieties of the nose, how it goes, but it's something like this, like a reversed heart shape. And we have something here. We have some things inside the nose that we will do, and it will look more nice this way. We will make the cheekbone in here, and it will go like flat a little bit, and then maybe a little bit up, and then go like this. And then the same on this side. Here there will be the teeth like this. And of course we will have to elongate our shape, our skull shape, because otherwise the chin will be too small. And it will be something like this. Here we'll have a complete hole at some point. Here behind the teeth, just behind the teeth, we'll have a hole. And this is kind of what we'll do. Also, we'll make two like protrusions here on the top of the head. There will be just slight breaking up of this kind of a specular, because now the specular is too it's very planar. I mean, it's it has to be broken. As much as we broke the specular, as much as we broke the forms, break the forms, the better it will be for our skull, because skulls they don't have this kind of very nice, very smooth surface. Yeah, they are not very smooth. They're pretty much the opposite of the smooth, and all those things that the skulls have on them are good for attaching the muscles, attaching the tendons of the muscle. They're not tendons, they are fascias or something of the muscles. And yeah, that's why they are there. And I will show you some holes that we will also make on the chin and on the cheekbone in here. But for now, let's see. So the cheekbone, it will be, so the ear hole is here. Behind the ear hole though, we'll have some kind of a triangular shape. Not very big, not very big. Don't make it too big. I mean, it's a little triangular shape just behind the ear hole. And it's called mastodoid process something. I'm not sure exactly how it's called. Here we'll have some indentation and then a little bit of lines in this area. As I told you, the skull is very, very bumpy thing. Here we'll have the hole for the spine, of course. Here we'll have some other things, but we don't care about them now. All we care about is the things that we can see from the front and side view. Mostly, that's what we care about. So now I will try to make it from the back look good, yes. It's not exactly perfect. Let's make it more flat here, okay. Now, I will make this very thin in here, because the skull here is has the bones of the skull are different thicknesses. So here the bone is very thin. Then here the bone starts to be thicker. And the eye socket, you will notice, I will show you, that the nerves and everything for the eye and the blood vessels are going inward here. The hole is inside, not in the middle, but it's more inside here. And the hole itself is not exactly a circular hole. It is like this and like this and something like this. Not exactly here. It will be like this and then like this. Yeah. So, and this is the hole here for all the things. And here we have another hole. As many details as you put, it's better. Of course, the details should be kind of reasonable. So from the side view, let's see from the side view. So from the side view, we have this bone here, and this bone ends around this area here. So this is kind of an end of the bone. We can kind of call it the end. And then here we'll have more, I will make it more deep in this area and in this area also, like this. And you see, now it looks kind of good. Of course, we have to make a dimple in here, and then we have to make some kind of protrusions in this area. And now it started to look good. So let's make the nose, just rough representation of the skull nose, and then continue onward from there. Because we forgot the nose, we forgot everything, we just concentrated on the eyes, which is not a good thing. We shouldn't concentrate on one thing. From the side view, the nose is like this form. You see, it's going forward. Let me just pick it up a little bit. From the side view, it's going forward, and then it's going backward a little bit, and then here it protrudes. And if the nose is this big, we have to lift it up a little bit. If the nose is this big, we need a lot more of skull in the bottom, so I will increase the size of this. Yes, because we need a space for the teeth, and yeah. And remember, very much remember the bones around the nose cavity and inside the nose cavity are very thin. They are almost paper thin. So don't make them fat or thick, because it will look bad. They have to remain their thickness. Here we have something like this, and sometimes something like this. So sometimes the nose is coming here and then going down and just disappears, and something picks up from here. So it's starting to look kind of good, but we have to push this area a lot more further. We have to take this area here of the cheek and just make it so this is coming and just entering in here like this. See, this is the cheek, and then the jaw will separate it at some point, not now, but at some point we'll separate the jaw, and you will see how the jaw will go. The lower jaw. So from the side view, the jaw is looking good now, but not exactly good. Here it's almost flat, it's almost straight line. So we have to do this. Also here in the front, it's most of the time it's like this, up. And most of the time it has this kind of a design. So a flat, and then a little bit like this. See, and I'm smoothing, and this design is looking nice, mighty nice. I don't like this, but it should be there, but it should be smaller and more inward. And here we will have the teeth. Yeah. When we start making the teeth, you will immediately notice how the skull will start to look more like a skull. Now it's looking like something, but not exactly a skull yet. I mean, it's looking like a skull, but it's like very soft forms and everything. There shouldn't be soft forms. I mean, almost everything in the skull is sharp, and yeah, we have to do it this way. Otherwise, it will look bad. It will look like a soft skull, which nobody likes. Also here, sharp forms. As I said, sharp forms. I remembered here, we have to have this very sharp form, and it disappears like this. But it's pretty sharp in this area, and it goes like this here. So here in this area, here, we have a few bones that meet. So for example, this bone here is going like this, and there is a small bone in this area, and there is this bone, which is, but I have to dig it, which is here, and this is the frontal bone something. And the bones of the skull are connected like this. I mean, they're pretty well connected, so they are like one whole mass. We have to make it like, yeah, one whole mass. It's better. All right, I will push this down a little bit, pull this up a little bit here. All right. I'm not completely convinced by this skull yet, but we'll see. I will smooth it out for now. Then I will make those kind of bumps in here, 2 bumps, just very slightly to break up the forms, and then like this. From the bottom view, we have to be careful for the eyes, because they shouldn't be that much backward. They should go forward like this. Not super forward, I mean like a little bit forward, and that's it. And this skull that I'm making is not exactly a completely male skull. I'm putting some parts of a male skull, some parts of a female skull, so we are making kind of a middle-sized skull, like a female skull or something. But it doesn't matter that much. I mean, a skull is a skull. Most people won't recognize a female from male skull, so it's fine. And I will tell you what's the difference, but let's make it a little bit more. And the male skull itself, you know, I downloaded a 3D scan of 2 3D scans of a male skull and a female skull. And the male skull, I didn't like it. It's too rough, too much like some monkey a little bit. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm a male, but I have to say that. But whatever, yeah. So we are making kind of a female skull. So in the cheekbone here, we can make some very interesting things. First, we have to push this area a little bit, and we will make a hole in here. There's a hole in here, And around this hole there are kind of some forms, and you will notice them if you, of course, when you're making a skull, always use reference. Don't think I'm not using reference now. Even now I'm using reference in my other screen. That's why I'm constantly looking there. And I will show you the scan of the skull that I was using for the reference mostly. But later, because now I don't need you to compare it to the real skull, basically, because it will be too shameful. I mean, this skull now is looking too bad yet, and even in the end it will not look as good as the real one. The real one is more rough. There are a lot of details, a lot of things, and if you want to make a real skull, it will be difficult. Not difficult, it will take time. I mean, not that difficult. So, very interesting thing, by the way, in the cheekbone here is where the jaw, the bottom jaw is connecting here. There is a hinge, not hinge, but how is this called? Yeah, whatever. It's moving from this part only, and this is just on the air. But it's on the air, on the skull. On the real person, there is a big muscle that attached to this area, and its muscle fibers are going down like this, and they attach to this part here of the lower jaw. So it's not in the air, basically. Let me control Z a little bit, because yes, but this part in the back is pivoting in here in a hole, and just before that hole we have this kind of a little bump in the cheekbone. Yeah, that's just curious. And if you make it, it will just break up this bone, and it will look a little bit better. And the cheekbone itself, it's not one bone. There are a few bones. I mean, I think 3 bones are connected here. One is ending around, I think, this area. One is ending here, so it's one in here. One is this one. It's this one. It's through here, and from here on, it's another one. So a lot of things are going on there. But don't forget ever, the cheekbone from the side view is visible. The skull is visible only the size of it, and then it's going kind of inward. And this is looking kind of good. So now let's continue to the interesting part, the teeth. Not that now we haven't made interesting parts. We made a lot of interesting things, but the teeth are pretty interesting. So I will increase the size of the chin a little bit. So don't be afraid to increase the size of the chin, because if you make a lower chin, I mean smaller chin, it will look like a childish skull, which is I don't like it. I like more like a masculine thing. Although the real male skull I do not like, because it's like a Neanderthal or something. It looks like maybe I will show you how it looks later, but we'll see. So now let me think, is it good? Let's increase the size of the eyes, and let's try to make the, let me see how much time is passed. Okay, 25 minutes, it's okay. We have a little bit more time. So this will be the line of the teeth. Let's make this. Okay, now it doesn't look good, but when we start making the teeth, so I start always with the middle line, and then I make the teeth from here. So this distance here is pretty small. So probably we should either shrink the nose or increase this this distance here. Probably the distance will be better, because the nose is, I think it's good. And don't forget to just squeeze here around the nose, make forms. When you go from the front, the sides of the nose of the white person, for example, are not very visible. They are very much like frontal. Asian skulls are a little bit different, and also Afro-American skulls different. But we are making just a basic skull. I mean, it's a skull like you will see in the metal covers of the metal albums and other stuff. This kind of skull we're making. So we will make a little bit of a teeth, but first let's increase the geometry double at least. Okay, now we can make some teeth. At least we can start making them. So the teeth themselves are of this form. They are like small in the top, and then they go. At least those are the front teeth. They have like this, and here are the canine teeth. We'll make them a little bit sharper, just like a vampire. And then I will push a lot more where the teeth are meeting on the top part of the teeth, because you know it's like a void in there. Mostly a void. The teeth should go kind of forward, but let's continue making them because now it looks strange. So continue making them. So the first teeth are those two front teeth and the teeth that are beside them, and then we have the canine teeth, those sharper teeth, and this whole arch is not very big. And then the teeth are starting from there, they're starting to go right back. Not exactly back, they're starting to go more back. So it's arching more. This is very thin in here. You have to be careful. Okay. Let's see what we can do. And then we will make adjustments if we can, if we have to. So there's one more small teeth here. And then we start with the bigger ones. And suddenly our guy is smiling at us. So this big, this one maybe. Let's see, one more here and one more in here. Probably this will do. I'm not counting them, the teeth, although probably I should. But yeah, I'm not. Sometimes I'm not that I'm not doing the things that I should do. I'm just lazy. But when I was training for this course, not course, for this video, when I was training for this video, I made at least 8, and in this file there are 8 skulls. And this is, I think it's pretty much fine. 8 skulls, and I have made, and I will tell you probably the story if we have time, because I planned this video to be no more than an hour. So if we have time, I will tell you the story about a skull that I found once when I was like 16 years old. It was not very dramatic, by the way, but still, it's a kind of curious story. It's nothing too much. So I'm making small teeth and now a little bit bigger ones. And we go. And the teeth are just about... So if we see the skull from this side, the jaw will go a little bit like this. And then let me see. So the teeth will end right about in this area. Somewhere there. Okay. Now this looks almost like a real skull. Although I am not completely satisfied. The teeth are pretty big. So what I'll do now is I'll take them and I will shrink them. Let's shrink those teeth. Okay, now I think they may be better. Maybe better. But I'm not super convinced about the teeth. We shouldn't care about that so much. But the thing is that if you want this to look like a skull, you have to care about a lot of things. So what we'll do next, let me show you. So we have a plane in here, which is almost one plane. And then we have this plane here, and we have a plane change around this area. Of course, it's not very like sharp plane change, but we can have some sharp edges like this. For example, we can make just a little bit of an edge there. It's not gonna hurt anyone. So the eyes, I think, are a little bit smaller now. Let's increase the size of the cheeks and increase the size of the eyes too. And especially at the top, they need to be squarish. You see, the eyes, they are not like that round. They are more squarish than you think, probably. Because many people are making skulls from their imagination. Yeah, you can do that, but it will not be good, obviously. Because even when I'm practicing and I'm doing it, I have done it for, I mean, a lot of times, I still have kind of difficulties here and there to do it. It's not like super easy. So the skull is kind of hard thing to do. It's, I will not say exactly that, but it's almost as hard as a face. Not, of course not. The face is the hardest. The face is the hardest. But the skull, you know, many people are making skull and it looks kind of like a skull and people say, okay, yeah, it's a good skull, but they're missing some things. For example, let's make those holes that I told you about. They are here. Why are those holes here? Because, you know, there are some holes in here too. So some nerves from this area are coming. They're entering here, nerves and blood vessels, and they're supplying the bottom teeth from inside the jaw, because the jaw has these cavities inside, and they're supplying, and they're also exiting from here and supplying the muscles in this part, which are, you know, there are muscles which are pulling here, and they're supplying those muscles with blood and nerves. Yeah, we have to supply the muscles with nerves sometimes. Yeah, supplying muscles with nerves is nice. But yeah, basically, for the muscle to work, it has to receive some, you know, something, and it receives it from the nerve. So, I'm pretty happy about it. Let's put the perspective on, and when we put the perspective on, you see it's starting to look more like a skull from the pictures, because it's starting to have this kind of a big jaw and everything. But this is because of the perspective. Otherwise, it's like a good looking kind of skull. Perspective. Let's when we're making heads, we almost always make this 85, the perspective, here in ZBrush, because otherwise it's gonna be distorted too much and it will not be okay. Okay, now you see it's starting to look pretty good. We are halfway done, so we are going to increase the jaw. I'm going now to make something and to explain something that it's not relative to the anatomy of the skull. It's more like ZBrush relative. So I know that most people that are visiting this channel and watching my videos are ZBrush users, or at least they want to be, some of them. So I will show you how to separate the jaw and how to just make a separate object with the jaw. It's very easy. You first have to mask very precisely where you want, what you want to separate. You mask it. Of course, if you're not a ZBrush lover, you can skip this part, because it will not be anatomy related. It will be only ZBrush related. So this will be our jaw. Let me see. Yeah, here it could be a little bit more. This area and here. Okay. Now I will just split unmasked point. So if you don't have this menu, and probably you won't have it, this menu, I have a video in which I have two videos of ZBrush productivity in my channel. You can search it. One is for speeding up your workflow in ZBrush, which will teach you how to make this kind of buttons, how to make shortcuts, how to make other things. And the other video is to make a custom menu, which you call where your mouse is, always, with the most used functions, and it's very, very useful. And I'm working pretty fast with it. I think if you spend, the video is around 25 minutes. If you spend 25 minutes watching the video and 25 minutes making it and making this kind of floating menu for yourself, I think it will be pretty useful. But let's continue. So split and mask points. And now they are two separate, and you see the other skulls in here, but they are two separate objects. So let's isolate this and press close holes. I use close holes all the time. And now we have to get rid of those kind of floating geometry and things. And this will be as easy if we go to Sculptris Pro mode. I rarely use the Sculptris Pro mode, but for this, it's very, very useful. Now we'll push this. And the bigger the brushes of the Sculptris Pro, the bigger the polygons will be. And we need, for now, just very rough representation here. So, yes. The other thing, we don't need all this geometry. So I will push it in here. And I will smooth it. And when you push it, they are like the polygons starting to pull to everything. But when you smooth it with the Sculptris Pro mode on, everything just is perfect. So Sculptris mode is one very good addition to ZBrush. It was added, I think, a few versions ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It's very nice. But if you are not, working with ZBrush, don't worry. You can draw the skull, and from the things that I've said here and some references if you use, you'll be able to do a nice job, I think. So this thing here, I don't know how it's called, but the attachment point of this muscle that is helping to bring the jaw up. So we have this muscle, which is the chewing muscle here. Its attachment is to the inner side, the bottom part of the cheekbone, and here on the lower part of the jaw. So when we squeeze, mostly is this muscle, but also is this muscle here, the whole muscle that attaches to this point in here. So in the skull, this is just in the air, just in there. But this part here is the pivot. So this is kind of thin, but then it goes like thicker where the pivot is. And most of the bones are doing this. For example, the arm bones. They are thin, and when the pivot is, they start to get wider, thicker. So now you see this part is not, it's not the same, but Mirror and Weld will fix that. So most of the time, work on this part of the image, this part, where my big circle is. If you work on this part, so let's say this is the right part, this is the left part. Work on the right part, because if you work on the left, when you put Mirror and Weld, always the right part of the model itself goes to the left part of the model. And if you're working on the left, you'll lose everything. So yeah, better work on the right. Even though it maybe not right, but it's the right part to work on. All right, so let's make the teeth. Yeah, I smooth them a lot. So yeah, we have to pay attention to the teeth a lot. Why? You will ask why. Because they have to, if you want them to look good, they have to look like they are coming from the bone and they are separate from the bone. Now they are not looking like this. We have to do more. And also the bottom teeth are smaller and thinner than top ones. You see? But now it's not exactly the case, I think. But we'll see. We'll see. So now I think this is nice. Let's take care of the top jaw. Again, close holes. And we have a lot of problems in here that we'll fix with the smooth, but the Sculptris mode enabled. Because if it's just smooth, it will be awful. I promise you it will be just a hell. So smooth with the Sculptris Pro. I will make this kind of a hole for the jaw to move in. I don't have to, but I just want to. So it's cool. Let's make the this area here, this area here, it's very nice to see. We have to smooth this very gently. And we have to make the teeth in here. So this strange thing, we have to just smooth it until it's gone. I was smoothing from this side and it's gone, and I will just mirror and weld and it's gone from the other side. Here in the top of this, we have this kind of a line. We have a hole in here that some things are protruding from, but it doesn't matter that much. Here we have a nasal cavity, which is connected with the nose, with here. But those are things that we don't care about now, because we will not see it. And the idea is, just for 1 hour, we cannot do everything, you know. Okay, so I'm making the teeth, I'm making the upper part here, and with the Sculpting mode on, I can make everything, and it just adds polygons and it's fine. So here I'll push it. I think this could be enough. Let's show everything. Yeah. So the upper teeth most of the time are, when we close our mouth, they're going above the lower teeth. That's almost all the time. So now I will increase the resolution of my Dynamesh for the upper part of the skull a lot, and then I will disable the Sculpting mode, and I will smooth here and start to make final adjustments on the teeth. Because now we are 41 minutes into this video, and I need to show you more things. So let's make those kind of teeth here. This could be flatter here, could be, and then all of them could be flatter. Those front teeth are pretty big, I think. So let's make them smaller a little bit. Everything is a little bit, as you can see. Let me show you my teeth. I will not show them because it's very scary, but my teeth are good. Yes, I have good teeth. But the thing is that behind my upper teeth, my jaw looks something like this. Yeah, it's very scary. I mean, yeah. So if you do the skull like this, it will be like, wow, what is this? But there are people like that. I'm one of them. So, yeah. Whatever. Who cares? I mean, if you take your lifts and lift them, you will see what your teeth look like. And mine, when I notice them, I mean, I haven't noticed them a long time. So I noticed like a few months ago. I was in the bathroom, I was on vacation, and I was like, let's see. And I was like, what is this? And I was a little bit scared. And then I showed them to a dentist. And she said like, wow, so yeah. It's kind of normal, but a little bit more than normal in my case. So this bone here is very interesting because it protrudes. It goes like this, and this bone also goes a little bit like this, and they're making some interesting forms in here, which we could use. I mean, it's useful. Also from here we can push this more, because this upper part of the cheekbone is pretty thin. It's not super, it's pretty thin. It's pretty thin, and it's going here, and it disappears like this. Just behind the ear, it disappears. And here we have a hole, and then it just, this is the part of the jaw that's not in the hole. I mean, this whole thing is a hole, but we'll not make it whole. Sorry about that. So, sorry that I'm not making it a hole. Here we have something like, I don't know what, but it's kind of a dimple, and it's looking nice, so we will leave it. We're happy with this. Let's make the lower jaw a little bit more. Dynamesh it at least 500. And yeah, I'm saying Dynamesh it at 500, but you can, in your case, it could be any other number. For me, 500 now is kind of good. So where this thing goes down, let me show you. Where this thing goes down, you see how it blends, it disappears a little bit, but it doesn't disappear completely because sometimes here you have this kind of a line. And why is this line there? You know, there's a very big, it's very, you cannot believe it, but there's a very big vessel, blood vessel coming from around this area here, from down to here, and supplying some of this bottom parts here, muscles, with blood. It's from the side, it's here. I don't know why, but it's there. So maybe because some of the blood vessels on the skull are having their own kind of a channels on the skull. That's why the skull is so bumped, not only for the muscles that attach to it, but also for this kind of a blood vessels and nerves that are going around, and they're also making their canals, especially inside the skull, because we are making now the outside. Are mostly attachments for the muscles. But sometimes, who knows? And those holes, those holes are interesting because the holes are kind of, the hole is from this point like this, you see? So it's pointing backwards a little bit, this hole. See? I think you see. So when I'm saying you see, it's like because I don't, my English is not that good, so I'm trying to just say something. Obviously. So now I'm just making some adjustments. I don't need to talk about them that much. So I can tell you about my skull experience. So I was fascinated by the skulls when I was a kid. When I was a little bit like 2 years, I was in drawing school, in the drawing part of the school. And we were drawing, we have a little bit more drawing classes than the normal schools. And it was nice. I liked it, but only 2 years I spent there. After that, I went to another school, which was economics, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So we drew some schools in there. And I was drawing skulls from my imagination back there because I didn't have internet and stuff. And I was too lazy to look for books. So I was drawing skulls from my imagination. And suddenly I was like 16 years old and I went to a seaside to work on my relatives. In their kind of a, they have some kind of a bar. And I was working there. And I was living in their house, and on the wardrobe, on the top of the wardrobe, they had this skull, like skull, this top part of the skull, and the jaw was from different skull, I think, because it was a little bit smaller. But whatever, they had a complete skull, and I was like, wow. And I used to, when I was working there, it was like 2 months from the summer, and I was working, and I was always, when I got home from work, I just got down the skull and I started drawing it. So I drawing it with watercolor. I was drawing it with a pencil. I was drawing it, this skull, a lot. There are some things here. And basically at the end of the summer, they say, okay, this skull, we don't need it. So they gave it to me. And I had it at my home and I was drawing it. So I know a few things about the skulls even before I started to practice about this course. But when I started practicing and when I bought the scan, it was $18, I think, or 18 pounds, I'm not sure. The scan, the 3D scan of the skulls. I didn't know a lot of things about the skull, and then I watched some videos about skull anatomy, and they explain some interesting things about the skull there. It's very, very cool. It's very cool. So the skull is, it was my pleasure to make a skull for you. That's what I'm saying. It was very nice. I love making skulls, you know. This is a kind of a passion. Okay, I made some like things here inside, you see, and this immediately when I make these sharp things inside, this immediately start to look more believable, more like a real skull. Because you know how the real skulls have this kind of things, very complicated and irregular forms inside the nose. Yeah, we did it, basically. It's kind of this. Let's make the hole here for the eye nerves. Let's make this kind of a sharp things here. There's a kind of hole in here, something like a hole. And also, yeah, I'm looking at my other monitor at some points because some things I am not exactly super sure how to do. But yeah, it's obviously not a bad skull at all. Let me show you how the mouth is opening. We go with our pivot here and we open the mouth. Baby. Okay, and we have to push this a little bit further. And now is the time, if our jaw is not good enough, for us to make it good, because it's separated from the skull and we can work on it easily. So now, this looks more like a male skull. It's like a more squarish form. If we make it like this, it will be more like a female skull. You see? Yeah. So now it's a male skull, or female. From the side view, if we go ahead and make this like this, it will be more like a female skull, but we will leave it like a male. So yeah, there are some differences from a male to female skulls. There are some other things, but they are not so interesting, so yeah. Let's make those teeth a little bit smaller. I made them too big, I'm not sure, but they're a little bit too big for my liking. This kind of thing here is pretty sharp, so let's make it this way. And I'm trying to sharpen some areas, because I told you skull is about sharp things. Don't make it smooth and, you know, it will be not good. And let's make this even thinner in this area here. It's very, very, very thin, believe me. Believe me, don't believe me, just watch skeletons, just write skeleton in YouTube and, or no, in Google, and you will see. You don't have to believe me, you know. So this is kind of like this. Yes. And we can make a bit more meat in there. It's not meat. It will be meat if we're making, if we are making, of course, a face. Now it's not meat. It's just bones. More bones. Okay, let me show you. So this will be with a thinner brush. Let's try to smooth this. Okay, it doesn't matter. With thinner brush we'll make kind of this. It's pretty irregular, but overall it's something like this. And then we have something like this going also. It's not exactly, but something like this. It's going backward. And there are some kind of things in here. It's going like this. So those are basically the bones, the separation of the bones. And at birth, these bones here are kind of separated because they have to like squeeze, so the head should be smaller, should become smaller and go through the birth canal. So you can get out. And then around 2 years old, I think, they are completely shut and now like a hard stone surface. So let me think what else we can do. I think this is pretty good. Probably when I look at it after a few minutes, it will look bad to me. It's not looking bad. I mean, it's fine. it's pretty fine. It's a little bit elongated, but I like it this way. I pretty much like it this way. Let's make some irregular forms in here and smooth them just to have it. And also we have kind of a thing in here, separation. Also, this should be, the distance between the eye sockets should be smaller. And as I told you, and it's more upward a little bit, yeah. Okay, this doesn't look bad at all. Probably even we can connect them, merge down. We can auto group, and now, even now, we can move the jaw. We have to just control click on it with the pivot on, and we can, and also we can do this, and then we can do a scary. I mean, he has seen something very scary, and he's, oh no. Okay, and also we can make it, if you make a skull like this, which is kind of correct, you can make also like this. Yeah, bad skull. No. No. But be careful. Be careful. I think this is about the skull. Let me show you the other skulls I have made for this video, and I will show you also the scan. I'm not sure if I have to show you the scan, but yeah, we'll see. So this one, 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 and they're from start to finish. So expose. Okay, so this is our skull now. This is the previous one. I made just 2 hours before this one, and this was the before that. This was before, and and this was the first one, which is kind of simpler and not that good, with much smaller jaw, and the cheeks are a little bit. So this was my first try without reference. You see, it's kind of good, but it's nothing as the other ones. The other ones, I was using references and stuff, and they become pretty good. And this is the last one. This is our one, and I will show you the. Let me show you the scan. The scan is just amazing. You can see everything. So you see how the eye orbits are not squarish. You see how this thing here is going. This just bump. You see how where the nerves and everything for the eye is coming from. You see, it's like almost like a pyramid. It's not exactly circular. It's like kind of a triangular shape that is going almost like a pyramid, but triangular. I mean triangular pyramid, not with a square bottom, but with triangular. And here you see some things. My nose became better. And also because I was not using only this for reference, I was using also some images from the internet and everything. You cannot use just one reference. I mean, if you want to make a skull, an overall skull. So this, you see how this is going here, and this is a hole, and this is the back of the eye. See? Back of the eye. Yes. And you see how this is in the air. This is going here. Oops. You see how this is a bone? I mean, part of the bone is where it moves. The teeth, better than mine. And also what we can see, yeah, the holes here. The holes under the eyes. Let me show them to you. In here, very nice. And those, you see from the side view, here, and then it going inward. And then the bottom part is just blending here. Very, I mean, very complex shape that are going into each other, but with practice you can definitely do it. You see this kind of a thing that's going on just before the joint here, and you see how thin are the walls here. Very, very, very thin. I mean, just amazingly thin. So this has to be done. If you make thicker walls in here, it will look not as cool. Also here you see how this is thin and then stops, and then it's going into this kind of a shape in here. Those two bumps, 1, 2, and one here, and also where the bones are connecting here, here. It's not very good in the scan. It's I mean, those connections of the bones, here you see them, here you don't see that much. Here it's a little bit visible in this area. Yeah, but the skull itself, it's pretty fine. So yeah, let's go to our final result and just look at it again. It's not as good as the real one, but for 1 hour it's kind of fine, and also is looking evil, which I like. Alright, I think that's it. And yeah, thank you for watching. The next video probably, let me tell you about the next video. The next video most likely will be for a tablet, which, but we'll see. Because if they don't send it, it will be a cheap tablet from China, from this company Gaomon. And I've heard of them a little bit, but they contacted me and say, okay, we will give you this tablet if you do a review of it. And I say, okay, I don't need the tablet that much, but I'm curious to see what those tablets are. So I will do probably a review of this tablet. It probably won't be the best video I've ever done, but I think it will be nice and also useful for some people. As I said, that's not about the tool, that's about you. If you got a knowledge and become good, you can work with everything. Even with chalk on the asphalt, you will be okay. So the tools doesn't matter that much, but I'm curious to see what this like $58 tablet is capable of from this Gaomon company. Let's make this a little bit smaller. I made it a bit too masculine. Alright. Right. So, if you like this video, you can like it. If you don't like this video, you can dislike it. And you can do whatever you want, because you're a free person. You are a free person. You can do whatever you want. And I will continue work on this. No, I'm not. I'm not. It was 1 hour, so let's just, okay, 1 hour and 2 minutes. But I was showing you some other things, so 1 hour is good. And for now, I'll say goodbye, but first no. I need something to do this here. It doesn't look good. It should look better. Alright. Alright. It's not alright. Okay, we have to break this form a little bit. Okay, it's good. Thank you, Google Assistant. Google Assistant is just crazy. Okay, bye for now.